Okay, so let's wrap up World War II here. Quick note about the end of World War II. We'll get more into this with the Cold War in the next unit, but Nuremberg Trials are going to take place from November 45 to October 46. The main leaders of the Nazi Party, of course, are going to commit suicide. So Hermann Göring is going to be one of the main people that they're going to pull up at for trial, and he too is going to not well, escape the hangman's noose, if you will, by swallowing poison in his cells. But essentially, leading industrialists, military commanders, judges, people involved in the final solution that knew what was going on, all these folks are going to be brought to trial. And this is going to be one of the first times where you've got a situation of, I was just following orders isn't going to cut it. Leaders are going to be held responsible for their crimes against humanity. That crimes are not the actual quotation is going to be crimes are committed by men, not abstract entities. So this is going to set up this model for future international courts. And again, that's the Nuremberg Trials. You've got some pictures here. There's Hermann Göring there in the front, some other major leaders of the Nazi Party. And one thing that I've always found interesting is, you've got these Nuremberg trials, you've got these men who are being held responsible for their actions. Also, I like to, notice just for a moment, if you will, the fact that they've got translators that had to, be put in place for this trial, because you've got bunches of different languages, and everybody has to, make sure everybody understands fully what's going on as they're being tried. But it's quite a different scene from the Nuremberg rallies that occur in 1933. Chosen specifically for this reason. In 1933, the Nazi Party and Hitler are holding lots of rallies, and there's one specifically that gets a lot of attention, and that is the Nuremberg rallies. You got Nuremberg laws, Nuremberg rallies, and the Nuremberg trials. So you really want to take a second to just kind of make sure you've got all these straight. The Nuremberg laws were the ones that said the Jewish people had to wear the Star of David, and where the restrictions are put in place. The Nuremberg trials are after the war, where the leaders are tried for war crimes, and then the rally in 1933. And I've got some scenes here for you of the rally. You can see it's held in great attendance. Everybody is basically required to go because they wanted to make it look extremely popular. Again, this is part of the propaganda that Hitler is putting in place. Lots of Nazi flags. Also, again, just look at the sheer amount of people that are here as Hitler comes walking down, and starts talking about how he's gonna move Germany into the future again. And this is in some of your reading, and I always like to make note of it because there's a director. She's actually female. Leni Riefenstahl, and again, I'm probably totally butchering the poor lady's name, is hired to film all of this. So it's important because, one, she's a female director. Two, she's actually going to be put on trial for being a part of making the propaganda that Hitler uses. She's got a movie called Triumph of the Will that wins awards. Triumph of the Will is going to win awards for its cinematography, and I put together a little movie I put a link in here to a movie trailer. The movie's like an hour and 50 minutes long. It's just a quick little 3-minute movie trailer. You don't have to watch all of it, maybe just about a minute, but it really helps you get an idea of, again, the extent to which propaganda was put together and put out there during Hitler's tenure in office. So now it's time to talk about the Marshall Plan. Marshall Plan is going to go into effect after World War I, and essentially we're going to start to see a disconnect, a divide between communist nations and democracies, aka capitalist nations. And the United States is going to promise to give economic aid to countries in order to prevent the spread of communism. With the fall of the Nazi regime and the Third Reich, all these countries have to be reset again. Border lines have to be drawn. Governments have to be put in place. And so the United States is going to say, hey, you know what? No problem. We will help you out. We will send you money. We will give you what you need as long as you are a democracy, as long as you put in a democratic republic or a democratic government. And so the whole goal of this was to prevent the spread of communism, especially in Turkey and Greece. In Turkey, they're going to give monetary and military power in order to prevent Soviet control. Now, notice on a map how close Turkey is to the Soviet Union. We've taken a look at Turkey before, and when we say military control, I want to just note that the United States will be putting up bases in Turkey with actual missiles, because that's going to come into play when we start talking about the Cold War. And the implementation of the Marshall Plan is considered the technical start of the Cold War. Now, just to finish this out, last little bit here, a couple pictures with the Holocaust. Again, graphic pictures are coming up, and I don't think we need to belabor the point. I think you've seen all of this. The one I think is missing here is the one of all the shoes that you can see if you've been to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., which is one of the big stops on the 8th grade D.C. trip. Hitler categorized, cataloged, and stored everything. Pots, pans, furniture, items, shoes, clothing, of course the artwork. We've seen the Monuments Men, or at least heard the story. And there is one scene in the Monuments Men where they open up a barrel and somebody's running and one of the guys are running their hands through them. They don't know what it is. It just looks like gold nuggets, and it's actually gold teeth. Of the Jewish people, where they removed the teeth before they either sent them to labor in the concentration camps or sent them to the crematoriums. So, Hitler was an extremely organized fella, and he cataloged everything. So, again, he knew if he ever went to trial, he had just set up all this evidence and called for all the evidence to be recorded. He knew it was stacked up against him. So that concludes World War II. We will be getting into the Cold War next. I hope you enjoy the notes. If there's anything that you like for me to do in particular with these notes, now would be the time to tell me, because this is the first couple times I've done them this school year. So if there's anything that you particularly think is helpful that I do, please be sure to note so that I can do that more for you. See ya in class.